this was a really good question that I wanted to expand on in a full video, right? If you don't know this, I do a journal on my Patreon. I do Q&As. I do a lot of other content. Feel free to jump in. It's free to check out. It's a 7-day free trial. Now, with that being said, there's a lot to kind of unpack here because a lot of people have a different mindset to me. No offense to any other influencer, but I don't like to look for newer projects. I don't like to jump ship halfway through a cycle. I kind of like to sit low and accumulate and then rebuy back, potentially if there's a dip. But most importantly, I'm looking to hopefully mature that investment into a much higher profit level and hopefully sit and hold throughout the cycle. So in the past, I've talked about certain things that I've held. Sometimes I've said I've sold too early. Some things I didn't buy enough of or whatever. But majority of the time, I just bought low and sold high, right? A lot of people did jump onto stuff, and I hold my hands up, and I did. I jumped onto things throughout that bear cycle into the bull market, and then I sold too early or I didn't hold. So Matic was one, I know. Another one was like sort of in a bull cycle. I bought into something like Reef. Shouldn't have done it. I should have just held on with what I was already holding on to, really. So moving forward into this cycle, I'm not going to be chopping and changing. I will be holding what I'm holding and sticking with it. I've done one change from the previous video in terms of revealing my portfolio. If you're on Patreon, you'll know what I've done. And that's about it. I am not looking to do anything. There may be one caveat. I may buy one more parachain project with the crowd loan distribution that I'm going to get in a month's time from the Moonbeam and Akala crowd loans, okay? So let's talk about the nitty gritty. Exit plans, entry plans, because I think you need to know this. Let's talk about it. So as we know, BTC currently having a bit of a bad day, really, bit of a bad time. Pulling back as kind of expected in terms of this top level. This line has been on my chart for a while. It looks a bit ugly now, but we're bounced. We are pulling back, but that doesn't really change the effect of this video. What will change the effect of this video is the fact that what are we going to do for buying low? Now, for me, when we're looking at levels and interest and stuff, we are at the low point of, well, we're kind of at the midpoint of a range. These are the lows. This is the high of the range, and we're kind of here. Almost halfway. We could go low, yeah, but what I say to people, don't get greedy because it may never hit your price targets, right? Remember, BTC is the full majority weight of this. We need to look at the total 2. Now the total 2 is a little bit different. This has got Ethereum on it. This is right at the lows. Lose this level, we might go down here. Probably a good time to buy. Now I am currently, disclaimer here, holding about 47% of my worth in BTC. Quite a lot, right? A lot higher than what it was recently because I've done something, right? Now, with that being said, I will be looking to put a percentage of that BTC into altcoins when I feel dominance of BTC is low enough and the likes for the total 2 and the total 3 are also nice and low. Don't know what that arrow's doing. Go away. Total 3 is, in my opinion, very low. Can it go lower? Of course it can. Am I going to cry about it? Probably not, because I'll probably buy. Remember, this is where the top was. This is where we are right now. Nothing wrong with buying right now. Not financial advice, of course. Could go lower, but you're better off buying here than you are here. So a bit of an entry plan now. Remember where to buy, why you're buying it, right? When we look at the likes of the dominance, BTC dominance, could it go higher? Well, yes, it can, right? Let's remove the noise. I pinpointed this area as an area of interest for me. We didn't even get into it, right? So if we do go into here and we start seeing those Satoshi pairs getting even lower, well, I'm going to probably put a percentage of my BTC in there. It kind of makes bloody sense, right? Again, when we're looking at all these, when they're low, it's time to buy. Polkadot is pretty damn low. Dogecoin, covered it recently. It's still at the lows. Solana.d, it had pulled up quite a bit. We've pulled back down. So we went roughly at 1%. We're now at 0.76. Cardano is another one, very low. Now, it's kind of obvious, really, picking the lows of these to buy. But when do you take profit? Well, this is where people get muddled up. Take profit is a couple of situations. Situation A, when the total market cap is much higher than when you bought. Hello. See what I mean? Would you take profit there on your bags? You probably would have made money. Unless you bought absolute shite, you'd probably be all right, right? So you got to have a bit of a plan in place. That is my plan. Feel free to print screen that if you want to. Another one, again, going back to the obvious, is dominance. When BTC dominance is lower than when you bought, if you bought up here and it goes lower, it would indicate that maybe your Satoshi prices of when you bought your altcoins are much higher. You can then convert into BTC. Good strategy, really. Another one is looking at others.d. If you're buying a lot of lower based altcoins, buy good assets in the lows and take fucking profit up here. That's just a box. It could go even higher than that, just saying. But let's be fair, you probably would have done all right. And again, finally, with other altcoins, obviously, individual ones, the top ones, if this goes up higher, you're probably understanding that the fact that the dominance of Polkadot, for example, here is much higher than what it was, indicating that the growth in the price has matured. Pretty straightforward, right? There's a final one. There's a final one that I'm not touched on. Stable currency dominance. If this is high, it's time to buy. If it's low, probably time to sell. Why? More money in stable coins up here, which indicates that more money is in altcoins or BTC. And if it's low enough, well, it indicates that there's not many stables. It's full tilt in the market. People are gushing for it and it's getting a bit crazy. Probably a good time to take profit. So that kind of makes sense, right? So that's the entry. That's the exit. What do I do after the exit? Well, this is a great question. I've just made it up myself. I will be putting a lot of my money into the stock market. I will be putting my money into fiat and I'll be keeping a percentage into crypto. I've not worked out what they are yet in terms of percentages, but as you know, I do dividend investing. I'm starting that journey. I'm going to really go full tilt post cycle. I'm going to be dollar cost averaging in now, very, very slowly, just getting my foot in the door, enjoying my time. But I will be looking for steady, stable stocks that will pay a passive income, and majority of the money from crypto will be going into that. It will also go into fiat to do other bits and pieces, other investments, general investments, whatever it may be. And I will be keeping a percentage. Where am I going? I'm going this way. I'll be keeping a percentage of my investment into cryptocurrency. And then I will be mainly, I think, holding two things. Stable currencies and probably Bitcoin. I will tell you this now. I will be selling all of my altcoins in the next cycle. Why? Because why not? Doesn't mean I hate them. Doesn't mean I want to throw shade at them because they're crap or whatever. I just want to keep my money more than I did last time. Basically, I kept roughly 30% of my altcoins last time. Probably a bad idea. I lost, but you get the idea, right? Kept most of my money, lost that part. Kind of doesn't make any sense holding, right? Because it's too volatile. Even if you get a nice staking rewards, kind of doesn't make sense. Let's be honest here. So I hope that does help. Over time, those investments will mature and hopefully, again, the prices will fall down in cryptocurrency and we'll go for another cycle and I will then rebuy back whatever I want to at the time, right? I may only hold 4 or 5 different altcoins, but as I say, if you want a running commentary of what I'm doing, like literally in live form, my Patreon, I do it. Okay, I do it in my journal. That journal is like a credit thing for me to kind of get better and improve, and I put it public on there. It makes sense to do it. It works very, very well. People love it. So yeah, ensure that you follow that if you want to learn and do more. Other things to mention, I'm going to be doing more TikToks and YouTube shorts on experience in terms of what I've done, what I've achieved. People like to ask about experience. I've noticed that a lot on Patreon. I'm going to do some of those publicly on videos because I think it's very, very important to learn from your past mistakes and obviously from prior cycles. If this is your second cycle, you may do very well. If you're coming into your first, it's going to be bumpy. It always is. I lost a lot of money in my first cycle, so make sure you understand that. But final thing before I go, don't be scared buying. If you're in this market and you've been buying the tops and buying the bottoms or doing whatever the hell you're doing, if you're dollar cost averaging in to get your lowest possible bids, good, go for it. But be exposed, because if this market does take off like a rocket, you've got a problem because you'll be led down a dark path of chasing some horrible impulse waves going up and you may get hit by a correction. Anyways, this video here or wherever it bloody is might help you understand more of the market.